What's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football, and this is Week 5 for the NFL, the previews. Jump right into it. The Thursday night game should be a good one. The Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are coming off a 55-40 loss to Tampa Bay. They turned it over a lot in this game, got down big early. Jared Goff, 45 of 68, 517, 2 touchdowns, but threw 3 interceptions. Robert Woods, 13 catches, 164. Cooper Kupp, 9 catches, 121 and a touchdown. They only had 28 rushing yards in this game. Part of it was due to them turning it over and falling down by a large margin, but Tampa Bay was able to hold them a little bit. They did have 14 penalties in the game, which hurt them as well. They turned it over 4 times, including the clinching fumble return for a touchdown by Tampa Bay at the end to win, to really seal it, I mean. The defense did have a pick 6, but they gave up 464 yards, and that might hurt them going into Seattle. Seattle's got a pretty potent offense, as everyone knows, with Russell Wilson. They're coming off a 27-10 win over Arizona. Wilson, 22, 28, 240 and a touchdown. Chris Carson ran for 104. The defense had 4 sacks and a pick 6 in this game. This game is usually, they're both 3-1. This game's usually pretty close. I'm going to give the edge slightly here to the Rams. I think they're going to bounce back and win here. Alright, going to the Sunday games, Arizona Cardinals and the Bengals. Arizona lost 27-10 to Seattle that I just mentioned. Kyler Murray, 241 and an interception, but he did run for 27 yards and a touchdown. And the defense did actually have 4 sacks in that game, where Cincinnati is 0-4 and they lost 27-3 to Pitt. Andy Dalton wasn't very good, 171 and an interception. They only had 175 total yards as a team. They had 2 turnovers. I'm actually going to give it to Arizona here. Arizona's 0-3-1, but they've looked pretty decent. Kyler Murray, yeah, he's a rookie, but he's actually played pretty well. Whereas Cincinnati doesn't seem to know what they're doing, so I'm going to go with Arizona. All right, the Bills and the Titans. Buffalo's coming off a really close 16-10 loss to New England. Josh Allen, though, he wasn't very good, and then he got hurt. He might not play this game. Even when he played, he was only 13 of 28, so less than 50%. 153 pass yards, 3 interceptions. He did run for a touchdown in the game, but like I said, he's hurt, so we're not sure if he's gonna play this game. Frank Gore, the fountain of youth, he actually ran for 109 yards, and now is 4th all time in rushing. They did put up 375 total yards, but they turned it over 4 times. Their defense is really good. They held the Patriots to 224 total yards. Whereas Tennessee's coming off a nice win over Atlanta, 24-10. Marcus Mariota, 227, 3 touchdown passes. Derrick Henry ran for 100 yards. They put up 365 yards of offense themselves, so they can move it a bit. The defense had 5 sacks, forced a turnover, but they did give up 422 yards in the game. However, the Bills are, they weren't very good in offense anyway, and Allen is hurt. Their defense is really, really good, but Tennessee's defense isn't bad, and they have a little bit more offense. So I'm going to go edge the Titans here, but this probably will be a pretty close game. All right, the Bears and the Raiders. Khalil Mack's going back to Oakland for this game. Chicago, though, their defense is great. They're 3-1. They beat Minnesota 16-6. However, Trubisky did get hurt in this game, which could be... I like Trubisky quite a bit. I think he's pretty decent. The backup, Chase Daniel, he's a veteran. He did fill in this game. He passed for 195 and a touchdown. He didn't turn it over. They did only run for 72 yards. However, their defense, though, had 6 sacks and 2 turnovers. And I'll shout out their kicker Eddie Pinheiro, former Gator. But he was 3 for 3 in that game, and they needed those field goals in a close game. And if Trubisky doesn't play and Chase Daniel, does, they're going to need all the points they can get against Oakland. Oakland has a pretty decent offense, so the kicker might come into play. Oakland's coming off a win, 31-24 over Indianapolis. Carr threw for 189, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 188 yards as a team. They put up 377 on offense. Their defense had a pick 6, 2 turnovers, and allowed 346 yards. I'm not sure. This is kind of classic, sort of. Oakland is not like the best defense in the NFL, but it can be. It's good. And the Bears, everybody knows, they have a really great defense, especially if Trubisky's out. We'll see how they can move it on offense with them. I'll still give the edge to Chicago just because of the defense, but It's a hard one to pick. All right, the Bucs and the Saints. The Bucs are coming off a huge win. They set a franchise record 55 points against the Rams. They beat them 55-40. Jameis Winston 385, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Chris Godwin went off, 12 catches, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They put up 464 as a team. However, they did have 12 penalties, so they needed to really cut back on that. The defense forced 4 turnovers. They have fumble return for a touchdown. They did give up 518 total yards. A lot of that was trying to comeback mode with for the Rams. But New Orleans is coming off a really good win against Dallas. Dallas had been scoring over 31 points in each game, and the Saints held them to 10. Whereas the Saints got 4 field goals behind Teddy Bridgewater's backup with Brees still out, and the Saints won 12-10. Will Lutz was 4 for 4. Their defense only gave up 257 total yards and 3 turnovers. I'm going to go with Tampa here, and not because I'm a Bucs fan, but Tampa's offense has looked pretty good most of this year. Just kind of first game to turn over a bit, and their offense can do it. Their defense the last 2 weeks hasn't looked great, but they forced a lot of turnovers. And the Saints, since Brees has come out, yeah, they won, but it's been very close-knit. Bridgewater hasn't turned over a whole lot, although he did throw a pick in the last game. But if they score 12 again, the Bucs the Bucs have shown they can put up, the last 2 games they put up 55 and 31. So I'm going to give that edge here to Tampa Bay. All right, the Vikings and the Giants. I'm not sure how to feel about this game. The Vikings lost kind of a grudge match, 16-6 to Chicago. Stephon Diggs was really all they had going for them on offense. 7 catches, 108. They only ran for 40 yards. They had 222 total yards. They turned it over twice. Where the Giants beat Washington 24-3. Daniel Jones had a solid game, 225, a touchdown, but he did throw 2 interceptions. And they turned it over 4 total times as a team. However, they also ran for 164 as a team. Their defense had 3 sacks, 4 turnovers, a pick 6, and they only held Washington to 176 total yards. This might be close to me because the Vikings, Dalvin Cook, he didn't play well last game, but he can get it going. The Giants, though, Daniel Jones is, other than the turnovers, they've been playing well, so they need to really cut back on that for them to win this game. I'll give the edge to the Giants here. I don't know, in my head, I think it should be Minnesota just because I feel like they're probably better overall, but I think Jones has something going for him there. All right, the Jets and Eagles. Jets are coming off a bye. Their last game was a 30-14 loss to New England. They only had 105 total yards. Their touchdowns in that were both by the defense. A fumble return for a touchdown and a pick 6. Whereas Philly's coming off a nice win over Green Bay, 34-27. Carson Wentz threw for 160 and 3 touchdowns. They ran for 176. Their defense had 2 turnovers, but did give up 491 total yards. I don't think there's a problem in this one. The Jets aren't very good, especially in offense. So I'm going to go Philly here. All right, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Baltimore lost 40-25 to Cleveland. Lamar Jackson passed for 247, 3 touchdowns, but had 2 interceptions and ran for 66 more yards. They ran for 173 as a team. They had 395 total yards. However, they turned it over 3 times. And their defense did give up 530 yards to Cleveland. Whereas Steelers, they finally got a win. They beat Cincinnati 27-3. Mason Rudolph was lights out, 24-28, 229, 2 touchdowns. They did only run for 66 yards, so they got to get that going against Baltimore. Their defense, though, had 8 sacks, 2 turnovers, and held Cincinnati to 175 total yards. I'm not sure who to go with here. I really like Rudolph. I've been telling people that a lot. But Baltimore, man, even though they're losing, Lamar Jackson is looking really good. I guess I'll go Baltimore here, but don't be surprised if Pitt pulls this one out. All right, the Patriots and Redskins. Patriots barely beat a decent Buffalo defense anyway, 16-10. Brady was uncharacteristically bad, 18-39, 150 passing and an interception. They only had 224 total yards. Their defense, though, did force 4 turnovers and a block punt for a touchdown, and that's pretty much how they won with their defense. However, Washington's coming off they got killed 24-3 to the Giants. Case Keenum played a little bit, but he only threw for 37 yards and a pick, so they pulled him. Dwayne Haskins came in, his first playing really as a rookie. 9 of 17, 107, but he threw 3 interceptions. He only had 176 total yards. They turned it over 4 times, which you can't do against anybody, much less this week against New England. Their defense did force 4 turnovers in that game, but I feel like this isn't going to be close. I think Brady bounces back in a large way, and I think the Patriots killed him. All right, Jacksonville and Carolina, both little kind of surprises, 2 for 2 this right now. Jacksonville, they were down 17-6 at halftime against Denver this past weekend, but they came back to win 26-24. Minshew Mania, the rookie Gardner Minshew from Washington State, 213, 2 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette went off, 225 rushing yards in that game. They put up 455 yards of offense, Jacksonville did. However, they did have 12 penalties, so they cut way back on that. But Carolina, without Cam Newton the past few weeks, Kyle Allen's filled in and played well enough for them to at least win. They beat a good Houston team, 16-10. Kyle Allen, 232. Christian McCaffrey ran for 93 yards and a touchdown and had 10 receptions for 86 yards. However, they did turn over 3 times, and then against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's usually has a good defense and can force those turnovers, so you don't want to do that. Their defense, though, against Houston had 6 sacks, 2 turnovers. I'll shout out kicker Joey Sly, 3 for 3, because they might need him this game with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen has shown he can move it, but this will be pretty even. I'll give the edge here to Jacksonville if they can get Fournette going. I mean, he's not going to run for 200 again, but if he can get 100, if Minshew can play good football and not turn it over, then Jacksonville should keep it going. All right, the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans, both coming off losses here. The Falcons lost 24-10 at Tennessee. Matt Ryan did throw for 397. Austin Hooper, 9 catches, 130. They only ran for 50 yards in that game, and they put up 422. Whereas Houston lost to close the game I just mentioned against Carolina, 16-10. Deshaun Watson only 160 passing. However, he did run for a touchdown. They turned it over twice. Their defense did have 3 sacks and forced 3 turnovers in that game. I'm going to go Houston in this one. I think it's kind of even here, but I think Houston's defense might be a little bit better, and Watson can do more, passing, running. All right, Denver coming off that loss to Jacksonville, 26-24. Flacco wasn't the reason for this loss. He passed for 303 and 3 touchdowns and a pick. Emmanuel Sanders, 5 catches, 104. Their defense actually did have 5 sacks, but they gave up 455 total yards in that game. Where the Chargers coming off a 30-10 win over Miami, who hasn't. Phillip Rivers, 310, 2 touchdowns. They put up 390 total. They did have 10 penalties, so they should cut back on that. Defense had 5 sacks. They only gave up 233 total yards. Fortunately for Denver, I think they might go on 5 here. I'm going to go Chargers in this one. Green Bay and Dallas, the old school matchup from way back, but both teams are 3-1 actually. Green Bay just lost to Philly 34-27. Aaron Rodgers 422, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Devontae Adams 10 catches, 180 yards, 180 total receiving yards. They put up 491 as a team, but they turned it over twice, which you can't do against Dallas. Dallas has a really potent offense. The last game they only lost 12-10 to New Orleans. They only had 257 total yards. They turned it over 3 times. Their defense only gave up 266. I think you throw that game out the window. This game could be a shootout in the NFL standards, which is like 30-27. It should be a close game. I'll give the edge to Dallas here because they can get Ezekiel Elliott going. Green Bay doesn't have much of a running game. They have decent running backs, but they're kind of relying on Rodgers a whole lot. Whereas Dallas, I feel like, is more balanced all around. The Sunday night game, Indianapolis and KC. This could be another shootout. Indianapolis did lose 31-24 to Oakland. However, Jacoby Brissett's been playing really well this year. 265, 3 touchdowns and a pick. They had 346 total yards, but they turned it over twice. Whereas KC had a nice shootout back and forth game against Detroit, 34-30. KC won. Mahomes put up 315. They ran for 123. They had 438 total yards. Their defense did have 4 sacks, 2 turnovers, and a fumble return for a touchdown, which was a 100-yard fumble return for the touchdown. Detroit was right on the goal line knocking in, and as he was about to score, he fumbled it, and KC picked it up, and the guy ran it 100 yards for a touchdown. So it was actually a game-changing turnover right there. But they did give up 447 yards to Detroit, and KC did turn it over 3 times, And Indianapolis has shown they can actually move the ball pretty well. This is another game. This could be a shootout here. I'll give the edge to KC, though. And then the Monday night game, this actually should be a good game. Cleveland and San Francisco. Cleveland beat Baltimore 40-25. Mayfield 342, touchdown and pick. Nick Chubb went off for 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry, 8 catches, 167. They had 530 yards of offense. Their defense had 4 sacks, 3 turnovers, but they did give up 395 total to Baltimore. San Francisco is coming off a bye week. Their last game, they beat Pittsburgh 24-20. Jimmy Garoppolo 277, 1 touchdown, but did throw 2 interceptions. But they put up 436 yards, but they turned it over 5 times. They can't do that against Cleveland. Cleveland will make them pay. Their defense forced 2 turnovers and only allowed 239. This should be a pretty close game. I'll give San Francisco the edge here. In my mind, I was giving it Cleveland, but the game will be in San Francisco. Cleveland's got to travel all that way. Usually teams, when teams have to travel pretty much cross country, they don't fare very well. I'm going to go 49ers here. So those are my NFL previews. Like, subscribe, give me comments, check out everything else. Peace.
Lost all hope and wake up, try to find my focus. Meet someone new, but the walls ain't broken. It's a never-ending circle I'm in. Time slow when you're on your own and miss seeing that name on your phone. And phone rings, not you, heart slow, man. Why you gotta switch up the plan?